VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show, only on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Is it Christmas? I don't know. It sure feels like it. NFL Week 1, our first full Sunday coming up as we welcome you back to the VSiN Pro Football Tailgate. And look at that sports book. We're bright and early. Everybody's locked and loaded, making bets, ready to cash some tickets, or at least certainly hoping so, as we welcome in live in studio here at Circa Resort and Casino, the owner of this joint, Derek Stevens. How are we doing?
Feeling good. My phone's been blowing up for the last 3 hours. Everybody is excited, from bartenders to blackjack dealers to ticket writers. Everybody around here, this is a special day in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. And so before we get to some of the games specifically today, I have to know what this final push was like, getting entries in for Circa Survivor, the Circa Million contest. You guys are setting records.
The last 72 hours in here has been unbelievable. Yeah, Stormy, it was really something. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, all record sign-up days for both the Circa Million and Circa Survivor. And then yesterday, up till the 2 p.m. cutoff, the surge just kept coming and coming and coming. So, we set some records. Over 5,800 entrants into Circa Million. So we're guaranteeing the $6 million in the Circa Million.
So a little overlay.
A little overlay. That's our gift to Circa Sports customers. And but it's grown. It continues to grow. So this is the Pick 5 contest. So 18 weeks, $1,000 to enter, and you pick 5 games against the spread. So a record number of entrants this year of a little over 5,800. And then when we take a look at Circa Survivor, blew out all records. So last year, 9,200 entries, so that's 9.2 million, and we just blew this out to 14.2 million. So we were kind of laughing, the docu-series, Circa Survivor, the quest for 9.2 million. That seems so last year. Now it's the quest for 14.2 million.
That's unbelievable. So that's more than 20 million combined entries for, in terms of dollars and cents, that is going to be given out with these contests. That's so cool, so exciting. So in terms of who's being picked the most, we just showed the graphic up on the screen there. I don't think it was a surprise from anyone that the Bengals ultimately were the most picked, but the way that it was split up, I think, with Seattle was interesting.
Certainly interesting. I think early in the week, there was a lot of discussion. Will Cincinnati be 50% of the selections? Maybe 60%. Well, Cincinnati was the number one selected team in Circa Survivor with a total of 4,895 selections. But that comes out to just under 35% of the pool. I think all the news that came out about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins that worried a few people. And what it did is it created this far more diverse opening week basis of selections here. We have never, ever had a week where there are 31 teams selected in Circa Survivor. So we know there's going to be an awful lot of people that carry on, but there's going to be a lot of people knocked out today and tomorrow as well.
Oh, for sure. And can you tell me, I know that this happens every year. I know it happens. But how week 1, 45 people don't submit? 45?
Yeah, people come up to me last night and they say, oh, you got all these people knocked out. We're like, there's really nothing we could do with it. We don't like this. We want everybody to enjoy this contest. But
I can't imagine how many phone calls and emails you guys must get.
Yeah, Jeffrey Benson took a lot of heat. He had a crew of 8 people staring at the phones and ready to answer emails from 8 a.m. onward. Put out about 6 or 7 public service tweets throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then, they answered a lot of questions. Everything was fine. But then come 4 o'clock when that cut off, they just stare at the phone and the computers, hoping nothing moves. And lo and behold, at 4:01, guess what happens? We've got the regular 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's my first time playing. It looks like I missed by a couple minutes. Just because it's my first time, can you let me in? There's nothing they can do. So I will tell you, out of all the people that we spoke to in the last 24 hours, there are no tragedies.
Okay, good.
There's nothing like that. But someone put a tweet out saying, I forgot should be minus 250. And I came back, no, it should be minus 2,000. Every single one of the 45 that I've spoken to or Jeff's spoken to is under the I forgot scenario.
That's insane.
One guy's
Set a reminder in your calendar, people. If this, let this be the lesson, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why proxies are good. I mean, I realize you saved a couple $100 not having a proxy, but at the same point, you just torched 10,000.
You don't have to be somebody that lives in another state to have a proxy. It makes all the sense in the world to have one here and make sure that you're being reminded to put your picks in and get them done. It's crazy.
Yeah, two of the no picks were locals. Got caught up. Life.
So I'm curious to your thoughts on my picks. I have 2 entries this year. I took a shot with the Bucks, and I need your Lions to come through for me.
There we go.
Yes. So I'm using them early. I know that obviously Thanksgiving is down the line, but there's still other teams I think that could make sense for Thanksgiving. I want to win. And I feel like the Lions are going to get it done against the Rams.
Well, the Lions selection in Circa Survivor is certainly a selection. I think that if people had to turn their picks in today, even more people would select it. I mean, look what's happening with the line.
Yep.
It's actually one of the biggest line moves that we're going to talk about here today. Lions, we opened at 3.5, went to a 4, hung at 4 for a little while, went to 4.5, and then overnight it went up to the funny number of 5. So we're holding a 5-53. The number has gone up considerably, and I think you're right on. Interestingly, in this game, when I said there are 31 teams that are selected in Circa Survivor, there is one team that is not selected, and that is the Rams.
Okay, interesting. So that means people are taking some shots here, going across the board. An even split, I think, even in the millions when you look at some of the consensus picks and going through, on both sides of them. So you mentioned that line being one of the biggest movers. What else has moved?
Well, I think one thing that we were waiting on today, what happened today? All heck breaks loose. What's going on with Tyreek? Wait a second.
My gosh,
He's arrested. What's going on with the Dolphins? So we've had this back and forth. It's created this unbelievable back and forth amount of wagering on the Dolphins game. At the end of the day, though, we're still at the Dolphins minus 3.5. So it hasn't really fluctuated too much. Total's gone 48.5, 49, 49.5. It's bouncing around a little bit. But Tyreek obviously is such a game changer, and he impacts lines. So that was one that caused a lot of havoc this morning. Then everybody wondering, what's going on. So Jamar Chase is out doing his warm-up, doing his tennis ball routine. Everything looks good. Mm-hmm. And then T. Higgins did not show up on the field, so that kind of changed things. So I think you seen that Bengals come back. We definitely saw Patriots money this morning.
Okay, and I was curious real quickly as well on the Steelers, because Justin Fields, we have confirmed that he's starting today. Yep,
Steelers, Russell Wilson is inactive. We saw Falcons money. Falcons went from 3.5 up to a 4. So definitely saw some Falcon money on that news that Justin Fields is starting.
We had a little technical Skype issue, but we have the man, Rich Ganon, back with us. Rich, jump in here. What do you got?
Derek, I am so thrilled to be with you, brother. And I just know there's a buzz in the casino right now. The energy and excitement. Nothing against baseball, basketball, hockey, the other sports, but there's nothing like the NFL. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. I came in right as Mitch was coming out, and we were talking. This is the blend of wishing Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday. Everybody's excited. I know you had made a comment about, all 32 teams at this point in time feel like they've got a chance to make a real big difference this year. And you're right. Whether you're a football team, a football player, or a football fan, this is a pretty special day.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I just think that the uncertainty of it all, Derek, we talked about it earlier. I mean, there's so much change in our business. We've got 10 different starting quarterbacks this year, 8 new head coaches. Look at the rosters. They look so much different from a year ago. And I just think this week 1, when you think about placing bets on games in week 1, man, it's crazy. It's just so much uncertainty. You don't know. Like, even in Pittsburgh, we're driving to the stadium finding out that Russell Wilson's not going to play and Justin Fields. How about if you're the defensive coordinator in Atlanta, trying to figure out what that looks like and shuffling the deck a little bit? So I think the uncertainty, the craziness of week 1 is what drives me just batty.
Rich, one thing I would say about this uncertainty in week 1, and you're absolutely right. I don't think there's any favorite you could feel really great about today. No. And the dogs, we know we're going to have some games where you get these massive upsets. How does that correlate into gambling in a money sense? To me, this is a week that I would not recommend taking a teaser. I just don't think you get enough value on a 6-point or 6.5-point teaser because there's too much variability. There's a much higher probability that team is either going to win by more than 10 points off the number if they're a favorite or lose outright by a significant amount in this week than what we would normally see.
And the only standard Wong 6-point teaser that even makes sense on the board would be if you take the Cowboys and the Bengals, right?
Yeah.
So there's only really one true option when it comes to doing a standard teaser anyways, but I'm with you. Just maybe stay away from that. Have you guys taken any big bets, anything of significance today?
Yeah, we've taken some pretty major bets. Like for us, the house is going to need the Minnesota Vikings today. That's going to be our number one need. We have seen a ton of money coming in on the Giants.
Mitch Moss said he took the Giants in Survivor for one of his picks.
Yeah. We're definitely going to need the Steelers. The news of Justin Fields starting just added more fuel to the fire of the Atlanta Falcons today. And we're going to need Rich, I know you were talking a lot about a rookie quarterback, but Circa Sports is really going to need Caleb Williams to show up today because all the money's going against him.
Derek, some good news though. And we mentioned this earlier. This isn't the normal rollout for a rookie quarterback. When you look at that roster, that offensive line, they've got DeAndre Swift. You look at Keenan Allen, the impact that he could have on that game plan. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I just think Caleb Williams is going to have a solid performance in Week 1.
Are you guys at 3.5 now, or where do you sit on that game?
On the Bears game right now, we are sitting at we went
Still
to
4?
We went to a 4. The total did come down though with the Fields news, so we went from 44.5 down to a 43.
Awesome stuff, Derek. It's
Thank
going to be
you.
a fun day.
All right.
Derek Stevens, everybody, owner and CEO here at Circa Resort and Casino, and there's a look at it. The world's largest sports book. We'll be right back.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, we recap Week 1 of the NFL. We look at the opening numbers in college football with Circa bookmaker Nick Bogdanovich, and Monday Night Football, a good one, Jets and Niners. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
VSiN is thrilled to introduce a new VSiN.com tailor-made to the evolved needs of today's sports bettors. Our upgraded navigation streamlines your journey, allowing you to swiftly access articles, videos, and podcasts. Whether you're tuning in live or catching up on your favorite shows, everything is just a click away. VSiN.com guarantees a fluid and responsive experience across all devices, ensuring you stay connected wherever you are. We have enhanced tools such as our betting splits and expert picks, and introduce innovative features like parlay and odds calculators, all designed to make you a sharper bettor. Our how to bet section is perfect for beginners, covering the fundamentals, while seasoned bettors can delve into our advanced betting strategies for the competitive edge you've been looking for. Sign up for free on VSiN.com or become a VSiN Pro subscriber, where you can unlock unlimited access to every tool, expert picks, and insight that make VSiN the sports betting network.
watching VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, let's talk about it, guys. This is football season. If you're not a VSiN Pro subscriber yet, what are you doing? Now is the time. Make this your football season, your best football season, rather, ever, by becoming a VSiN Pro subscriber. When you do, you get our daily best bets, the betting splits, betting systems and analysis from professional handicappers, plus 24/7 video access. You can watch and listen to VSiN anywhere you go, anytime. Grab our football season special. Get full VSiN Pro access now through the Super Bowl for only $175, or you can do the monthly subscription, $9.99 a month. See why VSiN Pro is your ticket to a winning season. Don't wait. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now to sign up and start betting smarter today. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Alongside NFL MVP Rich Gannon, Stormy Bonantoni with you. And you look at that Circa Sportsbook, the largest sportsbook in the world. It is popping this morning, Rich. So many people getting to the window, making those bets. We joked about it with Derek Stevens last segment, but it really does have that kind of Christmas-like feel. You're so excited to get these games underway.
Absolutely. And a lot of action, as Derek said, on that Giants-Vikings game.
Yep.
And, I think we talk about the uncertainty of it all, Stormy. I mean, Sam Darnold, 21-35 as a starter. Turnovers have been the issue with him, and accuracy. He's got the lowest completion percentage since his rookie year back in 2018 when you look at all qualified quarterbacks. That's an issue. On the other side of it, you've got a quarterback that hasn't been able to stay healthy, and I could see why. 85 sacks the Giants gave up last year. That's the most in the NFL. He had the neck injury. He had the ACL, missed 11 games. They're going to try and run the football with Devin Singletary. They're going to try and get the ball on the perimeter to Malik Neighbors. He's going to have a lot of action against a Vikings secondary that it's made some additions. Stephon Gilmore should help settle things down there on the back end. I've always liked Harrison Smith, but it's all about Sam Darnold. Do you trust Sam Darnold? There's some pieces in place there. You mentioned it earlier. There's some pieces around him. Pretty good offensive line. You got Aaron Jones, who's done some great things with the Packers. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Jordan Addison. In a couple, 3 weeks, you're going to have TJ Hawkinson. Just stay in your lane, Sam Darnold. Behave yourself and don't turn the ball over.
That's the thing. It's like, if you just do the little things, just do your job, pull a Bill Belichick, do your job. That's all you need to do, truly. And the Vikings were an underdog to start this game. We saw a flip of favorites. They're now a 1-point favorite. And for me, I just keep going back to, if Kirk Cousins was the quarterback, this number would be over a field goal. It'd be 4 or 5 points, right? But he's not. So is that too significant of an adjustment with the Sam Darnold effect? I don't know. And especially because you question, do we trust Sam Darnold? I just don't trust Daniel Jones. And anybody who's been listening to me on VSiN for this past calendar year plus knows I'm not a Daniel Jones fan. I've just never really believed in the talent. I think that the one season that he did have, that he had success in year one under Brian Daboll, was more of a fluke than it was the rule when you look at his career big picture. And you mentioned all of his injuries, the ACL, the neck issues, that he's had multiple significant injuries. The thing that made him good in that lone season was his mobility. He had 7 touchdowns and 708 yards on the ground in 2022. Don't you think he's going to play a little bit more cautious now that he's had all of those injuries? So that element of his game that elevated, I don't necessarily think he's going to have. So I'm not a Daniel Jones fan. That's just me personally. But we have more games to get to. So if you believe, more power to you. And I respect your opinion more than I respect my own, to be honest with you. Another game I want to make sure we get to is the Seattle Seahawks and Denver Broncos. We talked about it a little bit with Mitch Moss earlier, and how Sean Payton is trying to build up this young rookie quarterback who's got a ton of experience. But there's a lot of belief in this Seahawks team too in year one under Mike McDonald. Can he turn around that defense and get the most out of Geno Smith? They've gone from a 6-point favorite to 6.5 now. So some Seattle money coming in, Rich.
Yeah, you look at this Denver quarterback situation, Stormy. We talked a lot here this morning about, the young quarterbacks getting an opportunity to play. 7 straight losing seasons in Denver. And that's got to stop. That's why they went out and paid Sean Payton a lot of money last year. But it's been a rotating door at the quarterback position since the departure of Peyton Manning. 13 different starting quarterbacks since 2016. That's the most. That's why they need to hit on Bo Nix in a big way. Yeah. And a big challenge as he goes on the road to Seattle, one of the most difficult places to play for a young quarterback. Geno Smith, another quarterback that I'm not quite in love with. I don't know what I'm going to get, Stormy. I don't know if I'm going to get the Geno Smith from last year or the Geno Smith from 2 years ago. That was the comeback player of the year. But he's got a great supporting cast. Love Kenneth Walker. They've got to be a better rushing team. He's talented, but you look at them last year, they didn't get the production they should have. But I love this Ryan Grubb. He's the new offensive coordinator that comes in from the University of Washington. They scored 38 points a game. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. There's plenty of talent there for Geno Smith. If the Seattle Seahawks do their thing today, they should have success against the Broncos.
Let's keep it in the AFC West, shall we? The Chargers are a 3-point favorite against a franchise you had a lot of success with in the Raiders. Total sitting 40 this game at SoFi Stadium. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert said his foot does feel 100%. He was in a walking boot the first 2 weeks of training camp dealing with a plantar fascia injury. New starters for him at wide receiver, tight end, running back. It's one of the least experienced wide receiver rooms in the entire league this year, but still a lot of people believing in Jim Harbaugh getting this team off on the right foot. In terms of that field goal spread, how do you feel about Chargers Raiders?
Well, you're right about the landscape in Los Angeles. Looks a lot different for Justin Herbert. Keenan Williams gone, Mike Williams gone, Austin Eckler gone. That's a lot of production in the offense that's out the door. And, I just think Jim Harbaugh, it won't take him long to get things turned around. He's got a great young quarterback. I think the interesting hire in the offseason, the one that really got my attention, was Greg Roman, who worked with his brother John in Baltimore, was a coordinator in Buffalo as well. He wants to get back to thumping the ball. He wants to get back to pounding the ball at you and being a tough physical team. That's who Jim Harbaugh is. That's what he believes in. And that's going to help Justin Herbert. They're going to do a better job protecting him. He's got hit way too much the last couple of years. And I think you get Justin Herbert in there. His fourth different offensive coordinators as he begins his fifth season. There's been a lot of change around the young quarterback, Stormy. That's never a good thing. But you go out and get Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins for a reason. The Raiders did not do a good job a year ago stopping the run. And if you watch their first two preseason games, which I called, they didn't do a good job stopping the run either with their ones. They struggled in the first game against the Vikings. The 49ers got after them. Trust me, there's going to be a lot of runs called today against this Raiders front. But to me, that's going to be the storyline in Los Angeles. It may take a while for Jim to get things turned around, but it won't take long.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And when it comes to this Chargers wide receiver group, I will mention as well DJ Chark, who was going to be the veteran in the room. He's going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season dealing with a hip injury, placed on IR early. But you still have the coach and the quarterback, to your point, which more often than not, a lot of these games do come down to. Young quarterbacks, let's stick with that trend here as well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are laying 3.5 against the Washington Commanders and their young rookie, Jaden Daniels. We talked a little bit about this game earlier. That offensive line was abysmal last year protecting Sam Howell, and I don't know how much better they're going to be. And as you look at that graphic, by the way, from 3.5 up to 4 now, so some money coming in on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But how do you feel that Jaden Daniels might perform in his rookie debut?
I like this kid's talent. I mean, you're talking about the Heisman Trophy winner last year from LSU. Even the last 2 seasons, he put up some ridiculous numbers. 40 touchdowns and just 4 picks last year. So the number that excites me even more than the 40 touchdowns, Stormy, is the 4 picks. The guy understands the importance of ball security. The guy does a good job seeing out in front of throws. The guy's willing to use his legs to create and extend and make some first downs. That's always important. He rushed for 1,100 yards last year. I mean, you talk about Lamar Jackson, what he did Thursday night against that Kansas City defense. This is a similar type of player. The unpredictability factor, I think, is significant. Cliff Kingsbury is going to be aggressive with this young quarterback, but a lot like the situation in Denver that we talked about in Chicago, the Commanders have to bring this quarterback along the right way. It's the 8th straight season that the Commanders will start a different quarterback, 12 different starting quarterbacks since 2018. That's the most. And that's what I would refer to as a dysfunctional situation. And that's why general managers and coaches get fired, because you can't figure out the quarterback situation. The Commanders have to get this one right. They've got to be able to run the ball today. Austin Eckler, that's a quarterback's best friend. The guy can score from anywhere on the field. You've got Brian Robinson. They've got to be able to run the football against this Tampa defense. That's going to be tough. But on the other side of it, man, I love Baker Mayfield. I love what he did last year. Finally, Stormy, there's some stability around this guy. 8 different head coaches in his first 6 seasons and 7 different coordinators. That's crazy. And yet the guy somehow has found a way to survive it all. And they win the division last year. They were dead last in rushing, though. I point that out. 88 yards a game. Rashad White, they need to crank that running game up to a respectable level. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they've got a ton of talent there. The defense, pretty good unit. I think this is a tough test for Jaden Daniels out the gate.
win the division, win a playoff game. I think some people are sleeping on the Tampa Bay Bucks a little bit. In fact, in our VSiN NFL betting guide this offseason, you look across the board, all 21 people that submitted their division winner selections, nobody picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the three-time defending division champs, which really, really surprised me. I'm with you. Baker Mayfield back, having some continuity, having his weapons be healthy out the gate to start. I picked the Bucks as one of my ATS contest plays, laying 3.5. Again, on the regular spread, it is 4. But I'll tell you a prop I was looking at, Jaden Daniels rushing yards. I was looking for attempts. I couldn't find one available to bet. But rushing yards over 40.5, I think
no brainer.
I think he might have to be scrambling and running around a little bit.
VSiN is extending our VSiN Pro Football Special. That means for $175, you'll get access to both our NFL and college football betting guides, plus so much more. With VSiN Pro, you'll receive daily picks straight to your inbox, detailed analysis on every game, and exclusive data like our betting splits to help you become a sharper bettor. Get all this for just $175 through the Super Bowl. Or try a monthly subscription and get your first 30 days for only $19. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe.
Don't wait until fall to start betting the NFL. Get a jump start now with the VSiN NFL betting guide and get prepared for this NFL season like never before. The guide has in-depth breakdowns for all 32 teams, best bets from our VSiN experts, playoff predictions, award market previews, and more. The guide is out now, and the only way to get it is to be a VSiN Pro subscriber. Head to VSiN.com/pro to sign up and join the Sports Betting Network.
watching VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
But I have a lot of pride in my performance. So when I take the field, I expect greatness. And because I've done it before, and so that's kind of the standard I hold myself to.
That's Aaron Rodgers as he's getting set for Monday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers, hoping certainly to have a little more action on the field, Rich Gannon, than he did a season ago when his debut with the Jets was cut short just 4 plays in. His squad is a 4-point underdog against the 49ers out there at Levi Stadium, total 43.5. Going to be a great game. Game of the week, in my opinion. What are we going to get from this Jets team in year 2? The expectations are very, very high.
This isn't going to be your normal regular season opener for the Jets. There's a lot of eyeballs on this one, in particular Aaron Rodgers, your 40-year-old quarterback that's coming off of an Achilles rupture, played in just 4 plays last year. You know, he's a different guy. He's wired a little bit differently, Stormy. He understands his legacy and how important that is. And I think he wants to have a special season, an MVP type season. We are talking about a 4-time NFL MVP, highest passer rating in the history of the NFL. He's won his last 10 starts on Monday Night Football, and he just happens to be from Northern California and grew up a big Joe Montana and 49ers fan. So he's going to want to drop a house on Brock Purdy and the 49ers on Monday night. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be a great game. My biggest concern with the Jets was the same concern I had last year, the offensive line. It is a completely reworked group up front. You look at Tyron Smith come over from the Cowboys. Can he play all 17 games? John Simpson, Morgan Moses came over from the Baltimore Ravens. They used a first-round pick on a tackle from Penn State. That group has to play well because there's plenty of pieces around Aaron Rodgers. When you look at, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams, plenty of playmakers and a good defense to boot. But you got to be able to protect your franchise quarterback. That's my biggest concern with the Jets.
I don't have a firm opinion either way on this game. I think the money coming in on the Jets is probably the right side, at least initially, because the 49ers were a 6-point favorite, got as low as 3.5. Now we're sitting 4 with the 49ers having some of their key pieces available, notably Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, getting their contract situations figured out and getting back there on the field. But Rich, so Michael Lombardi and I have worked on a show together the last couple years, and all offseason, we have been calling this Jets team the Ifers, because if everybody stays healthy, if their leadership group is able to prove that they are capable, then this team could be unbelievable. I love them to make the playoffs. I love them to make a push. They're extremely talented. But you talk about Aaron Rodgers coming off of his injury. That offensive line, Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses both have recent significant injury history. Smith missed 37 games over the last handful of years. So that's significant to me. Even like one of the talented people they bring in Mike Williams in the skill position players coming off a significant injury himself. So I have some concerns from a health perspective that has kept me off of wanting to buy in on anything Jets.
The other thing to keep in mind is that we're in the business of evaluating. We evaluate players, we evaluate schemes, we evaluate coaches. And when you're a general manager and you're in that draft room and you're making your evaluations, you look at 5'10" quarterbacks. There's not a lot of them. Kyler Murray and Bryce Young. And you say, okay, let's look at the last 20 years. How many 5'10" quarterbacks have had long careers and successful careers? Not a lot. The other thing is, how many 40-year-old quarterbacks have taken their team to Super Bowls? Not a lot. How many 40-year quarterbacks are able to play 17 games? Not a lot. I was 39, and I didn't quite make it to 17 games or even 16 back in the day. My point is, he's coming off of an Achilles rupture. Doesn't have that change of direction ability. You're not going to see him run around and make first downs. He was always good for 3 or 4 of them when he played in Green Bay when he was healthy. So, that's the biggest concern. And you pair that with an offensive line that's still a work in progress. I do have concerns about sustainability over the course of 17 games.
And potentially like a little bit more concerned when there's people around his legs. How's he going to handle that? All things that we need to keep our eye on. Certainly a couple other quick injury updates for that game. Christian McCaffrey, as of now, is still listed as questionable with calf and Achilles issues, but he did tell reporters there's no doubt that he's going to play and is anticipating getting his usual workload. Safety Talanoa Hufanga, unlikely to play, still recovering from a torn ACL, but he was back at practice. Also, no Hassan Reddick, which Lord knows how that situation has come together, but thought it might note as well. The Sunday night football game, we got Rams getting 4.5 now at the Detroit Lions. Total 53, highest total of the weekend by far. Indoors, could be a track meet with these offenses. What's your perspective on Rams Lions?
A wild card rematch between obviously two quarterbacks that played for the opposite team. And I got to start with the Lions. I think that's the big story in this one, Stormy. A lot of expectations. I haven't picked to play in the NFC Championship game. First playoff win in 31 years. Something feels different when you watch the Lions on TV. It's not your same old Lions. This is a really good football team. I don't think Jared Goff gets enough respect. We talk about all these franchise quarterbacks, top 5 quarterbacks. Check out his numbers over the last 3 seasons. Even those first 2 where they were still in the rebuilding mode. But he's been solid. And here's the other thing. They're one of just 2 teams that have 2 backs that have gone over 1,000 scrimmage yards last year. I love Jahmyr Gibbs, and I love David Montgomery. Mm-hmm. And I love the attitude that they bring to the mix. You look at St. Brown, you look at Laporta. They got production on the outside. They have one of the better offensive lines in football for a quarterback that doesn't have great mobility. I think each year they've gotten better defensively. I really like the Lions. On the other side of it, how about the Rams? They won 7 of the last 8 last year to get into the playoffs. What can you say about their quarterback, Matthew Stafford? He's a gunslinger, but he needs a clean pocket. He's not going to be able to create and extend a lot of plays on his own. And I love their play caller. I mean, you think about Sean McVay. We talk about some of these great head coaches. Andy Reid doesn't get enough credit for being a great play caller. Sean McVay probably does get the respect he deserves as a play caller. He's a great head coach. But he has a lot of plays that look the same, that are different. Does a great job, I think, understanding the strengths and the limitations of Matthew Stafford's game. But don't overlook the running game and the importance in this one. You know, you look at Kyren Williams. He led the NFL in rushing yards per game last year. He's phenomenal. And Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. It's going to be a busy day for that Lions secondary.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I know Puka Nacua a little bit dinged up here, but 100% when it comes to that Lions defense. I love the Lions in this spot. I did take a -3.5. They're one of my contest picks as well. So fortunate to get the better of the number, but it only matters ultimately if they do win the game and cover. So we shall see. Again, 4.5 right now, total 53. We had a lot of news coming in this morning, Rich. Tyreek Hill was arrested. I mean, not arrested. He was handcuffed on his way to the stadium after reckless driving and speeding. So not a great start for the star wide receiver in Miami, as they are a 3.5-point favorite against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Although you said regardless, you think he has a big day. A couple other updates. Jamar Chase is active for the Cincinnati Bengals, who are an 8-point favorite against the New England Patriots. Dak Prescott secured the bag, $231 million in guaranteed cash coming his way after signing a 4-year extension with the Cowboys. They're taking on the Browns as a 2.5-point underdog. And lastly, Justin Fields will be getting the start today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson, in that calf strain that he suffered to begin training camp, lingering, re-aggravated. He's not going to be available today against the Falcons.
Yeah, and the Falcons, Stormy, the key for the Falcons defense is just pin your ears back and stop the run. Like Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris can't beat us. And Justin Fields can't beat us running the football. We got to do a good job with our eyes and be disciplined with our rush lanes and keep Justin Fields back there in the pocket where he belongs. Let's rush the edges. Let's set the edge, and let's force Justin Fields to function as a pocket passer. He had a problem with that last year. He's not comfortable sitting in the pocket, going through his reads and progressions, and trusting his feet. The way he trusts his feet is to pull it down and run. A lot like we saw from Lamar Jackson on Thursday night against that Chiefs defense. He's going to run around. He's going to make some plays, but you can't give up the explosives today against that Pittsburgh offense.
I'm actually surprised that this line has been moving more in favor of Atlanta, because I kind of think Justin Fields might actually give them a better chance in this matchup. But again, they are getting 4 right now, total 42.5. Last couple minutes here, we talk about Dak Prescott getting that contract, huge blockbuster guaranteed money for him to stay there in Dallas. And for that game, he's going to have the GOAT Tom Brady broadcasting for him. Obviously, the debut is a big story, but how excited are you to be able to hear from Tom Brady on a week-in, week-out basis, his thoughts on these games as they unfold?
Stormy, I know what that transition is like, going from the playing field to the broadcast booth. It's not easy. There's a lot of, a lot of moving parts. You got a producer in your ear. You've got the equipment. You got the telestrator. The mechanics of broadcasting a game. But if there's anybody that's going to prepare better than Tom Brady, I'm not sure. I think he's going to do a phenomenal job in the broadcast booth at Fox. He's committed to having success doing it. It's important to him. This guy is passionate about football. He loves football. I can't wait to hear him. I think he's going to give us great insight week in and week out. And that's going to be a really strong team for Fox.
And I know he's been doing some practice games as well. It started this offseason, even doing some UFL games, just getting in a rhythm, preseason, behind-the-scenes stuff. So he's going to be well-practiced. He's not going in here cold by any means. But I'm particularly excited, just to see how he sounds and getting thoughts from somebody of his caliber throughout the course of the game. The best to ever do it. I can't wait for him to call a Chiefs game for the first time. Having him cover Mahomes, unbelievable.
Stormy, I still haven't forgiven him for the tuck rule game. Let's move on. I love Tom Brady, but enough of Tom Brady.
Honestly, love that.
When you think about what he accomplished in his career, honestly, he's the GOAT. It's amazing.
What a way to go to break. We're going to wrap things up in the next segment with what we're calling game time decisions, running the board, hitting as many games as we can ahead of kickoff. Don't go anywhere.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fan, with a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
Looking for the ultimate sports betting podcasts? VSiN has got you covered. With a wide range of podcasts covering every major sport, we're here to help you make smarter bets every season. The Baseball Betting Show with Greg Peterson gives you daily insights into finding value on each day's MLB card. And check out Long Shots, where we deep dive into the world of golf betting, providing you with expert insights to help you bet every tournament. Find all of these podcasts and more at VSiN.com/podcasts or your favorite podcast platform.
watching VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're counting down to kickoff. If you haven't already, now's the time to hit the counter, get your apps ready, place those bets. It's time to go. We're going to wrap things up here on the Pro Football Tailgate Show. Rapid fire with what we're calling game time decisions. Going to hit as many games as we can before we close things out here. Alongside Rich Gannon, Stormy Bonantoni with you. Let's start with these morning games. The New England Patriots are getting 8 points, the biggest underdog of the day against the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar Chase, his activated total 40.5. Rich, what do you think?
You know, Jacoby Brissett's going to give you what he's got, Stormy. And the other thing is, I think it's a real opportunity for this Patriots defense. T. Higgins isn't going to play. Jamar Chase may be limited. Joe Mixon's no longer in the building. I kind of like the Patriots to make this one close.
We got another big favorite near a touchdown. The Buffalo Bills hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Total in that one, 46. Two teams with a few question marks. Could the Cardinals be scrappy? How are you looking at this one?
I think Kyler Murray will run around and make some plays. He's usually plays his best football early in the season in September and October when he's fresh. Smaller guy wears down late in the season. But 27-7 at home since 2020, the Bills will be tough to beat at home.
That's a good point, though, about him being healthy and kicking off the season. Maybe he could run around. He's a guy I might have interest in targeting potentially rushing yards or rushing attempts coming into today. The Houston Texans, a 3-point favorite on the road in the division, taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Two young quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson back healthy, C.J. Stroud coming off his Offensive Rookie of the Year season. Total 48.5.
I think the running game could be a story in this one. Obviously, the Colts can tote the rock, and Anthony Richardson's a part of that. It really boils down to me, which quarterback do I trust more? The quarterback that ran around and got hit and got knocked out of the season after 4 weeks, or the quarterback that played in every game, took his team to the postseason, was the Offensive Rookie of the Year? I really like C.J. Stroud and the Texans on the road.
Big picture, do you think the Texans are a rightful favorite to repeat in that division?
Without question. They've got a great head coach, good coordinators, and a quarterback that understands the importance of ball security.
All right, let's keep it moving here. One of the more interesting line moves, the flip of favorites with the Minnesota Vikings, who were a 1-point underdog, got bet up to a 1.5-point favorite. I see on DraftKings and largely across the board, sitting at 1 in MetLife against the Giants. Sam Darnold returns to MetLife Stadium. Will he see ghosts again?
You know, this is it's almost a pick 'em game, Stormy, when you look at the two quarterbacks, right? It's like, which one do you trust more? It sounds crazy, right? Daniel Jones missed a lot of time last year. They haven't protected well in New York. That has me concerned. I think the Vikings will do a better job protecting. This is an unbelievable opportunity for Sam Darnold. He's on a 1-year deal. J.J. McCarthy's hurt. All he has to do is go out, as you said, and just take care of the football. He's got a good enough team around him to get the job done. On the road, I like the Vikings.
I like the Vikings too, and it's fascinating to me how much love we're seeing for the New York Giants in this spot. Mitch Moss came on the program earlier. He said that he took a shot with the Giants as one of his survivor picks. I got to tell you, I do not have that in me. I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones, and I understand that he is coming back healthy, and people think with Brian Daboll calling plays again that they can take another step. I'm just not sure that I see it. I think they could be one of the worst teams in the league this year, unfortunately. The Titans and Bears, Caleb Williams making his NFL rookie debut. Number 1 overall picks have not fared well in the favorites role, but his squad is laying 4. And you talked about it earlier. This situation for him is the exception, not the rule for rookie quarterbacks. He's in a great spot, but the Titans have been getting a lot of play. Total 43. What do you think?
We talk about which quarterback do you trust more? I can't believe I'm saying this. I trust Caleb Williams more than I trust Will Levis. Will Levis was very inconsistent last year. And I think the footwork and the accuracy go hand in hand, and that's a problem. There's a problem with him at Kentucky. He had the worst completion percentage in the league last year. They've got 3 new starters along that offensive line. I love Bill Callahan. He's a terrific offensive line coach. I think Brian Callahan will get things turned around, but I'm not quite sure about Will Levis. He's a home run. He's a home run hitter. Loves to throw the deep ball, but the short and intermediate stuff has been a problem for Will Levis. I don't feel comfortable about the Titans.
You mentioned Bill Callahan, someone you know well. I think that was one of the more underrated hires of this offseason, and see ultimately what he's able to do with that offensive line, because one of the best, most elite O-line coaches in the entire league. The Steelers, we got the news this morning. Russell Wilson inactive for this game, dealing with a calf strain. We're going to see Justin Fields. So by the way, anybody who thought and got excited about betting Russell Wilson to be the week 1 starter, what a bad beat this is, because he was like minus 450 favorite. It's going to be Justin Fields taking the first snap here. They are getting 4 in Atlanta against the Falcons, total 43.
I really like the Falcons at home. And let me just start from the other side of it. I love Mike Tomlin. Arthur Smith, they're brilliant coaches, and they know what the issues are with Justin Fields. Trust me, they don't want him dropping back and throwing it 35 times. It has to be a heavy day for Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren and Justin Fields running the football. But I don't think it's going to be enough today against Kirk Cousins in that offense. I really like the Falcons at home.
Arthur Smith revenge game. But yeah, Atlanta certainly has a lot of weapons and maybe a coaching staff that'll use them to their ability. The Carolina Panthers, I look at it, I saw CAR. I went to the Cardinals. We already talked about that game. The Carolina Panthers visiting the New Orleans Saints. They are getting 3.5 points right now, down from the 4. So getting a little bit of play here on Carolina. Total 41.5. You think Bryce Young and company can cover?
I don't think so. That's a hard place to play. We talked about going to Seattle, going to Arrowhead. If you're going to go indoors and play against the Saints, you're going to have to deal with crowd noise. And this won't be Bryce Young's first opportunity. But, he's in year 2. He's got a different offensive play caller, obviously, in Dave Canales. And it's going to take some time in Carolina. That's a good Saints defense. I think Derek Carr will play well in this one.
The one thing I will say, Derek Carr does happen to be the worst cover quarterback in the NFL as a favorite.
That's why he's no longer with the Raiders.
Yeah, there you go. Well, speaking of the Raiders, let's skip ahead to that Raiders game. They're getting 3 themselves against the Los Angeles Chargers. They're going to have a lot of fanfare there at SoFi. Total 41 there. Jim Harbaugh begins his tenure in LA.
And I love this Raiders defense. They just got to show me they can stop the run, and they're going to get challenged against the Chargers. You've got a quarterback that's not 100% right now in Justin Herbert. We talked about no Mike Williams, no Keenan Allen, no Austin Eckler. They're all gone. It's going to be a bit of a process. I think this is a Chargers team that's going to get better down the stretch in November and December. But I think there's going to be some growing pains early. I'm not predicting the upset. I think it's going to be a close game. This one could go into overtime. I think it's going to be that kind of game between the Chargers. And keep in mind, the last time these two teams played in Week 15, Antonio Pierce rubbed the nose in it. I mean, they got after the Chargers. It cost Brandon Staley his job. I think the Chargers are hyped for this one. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do like the Chargers at home.
A sneaky note here, Antonio Pierce, 8-1 ATS in the head coach's role. So he has been able to get this Raiders team to cover some numbers. We talked about it in the last segment. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott signed the big deal. You used the phrase all in earlier, and apparently we are finally there. They're getting 2.5 on the road in Cleveland against the Browns, total 42.
Mike McCarthy has spent a lot of time this offseason changing the habits, the structure, and the schedule on game days. Doesn't want players walking into the locker room an hour before the game. They've gone out of their way to try and figure out a way to come out of the gates hot. And more importantly, how to become a better road team. It was a point of emphasis. And when you make something a point of emphasis, Stormy, in the offseason program, usually you see dividends. And I just think that they were 4-5 on the road last year. They were 8-0 at home. They were bullies. They beat up on the teams they should beat, and yet they struggled against better competition. Buffalo embarrassed them. The 49ers embarrassed them. This is a great start for the Cowboys against a playoff team from a year ago. I think the Cowboys play well. Dak's got the new deal. I like the Cowboys on the road.
I know Derek Stevens, owner and CEO here at Circa, joined us earlier, and he said maybe not a day for teasers. If you did want a teaser leg, the Cowboys going up from 2.5 to 8.5 does seem like a pretty good option there. How about the Washington Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Jaden Daniels getting 4 in his debut.
Jaden Daniels is going to be a treat to watch. Just the unpredictability of it all. I think his ability to create and manufacture offense. It's going to be tough, though, against Vita Vea and the boys from the Buccaneers. This is a good team defense. They've got good team speed on defense. And I love what I saw from Baker Mayfield last year. The Bucs are going to be tough at home. As you mentioned, Stormy, how about the disrespect? 3 straight division titles, and now nobody's giving them. Everybody's got all their money on the Falcons. don't count out the Bucs early in the season.
Last day game real quickly. Tyreek Hill had his problems getting handcuffs put on him in pregame, but he's taking on the Jaguars. Miami laying 3.5.
No worries. Take the fastest team in football, the most explosive team in football, the Dolphins at home.
You'll love to see it. Great stuff. That is us running the board. We will have plenty of action still continuing as you get set for kickoff here. That's a wrap for our Pro Football Tailgate Show. Boy, Rich, this went by quickly. Cannot wait to do this with you each and every Sunday throughout the course of the season. Enjoy the games, everybody, and let's cash some tickets. For Rich Gannon, I'm Stormy Bonantoni. Producer Bill Wagner, appreciate him holding everything down with us. Up next, Live Bet Sunday with the crew. There is no better second screen to NFL game day than these guys. They'll have you covered all afternoon with the latest line moves, live betting opportunities, 7 hours of NFL live coverage. Then stick around for Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich, followed by cashing out at the end of the night with Joe Serralo. It is week 1, baby. Let's go.
The only thing better than football is the excitement of all the contact.